You are watching
Do they
Xirtus.
have Too Good to Go where you're at yet? Is that like a thing? Because in Europe, this is how I eat every day almost. There's this thing called Too Good to Go, and it's like every like Vienna, Dresden, Berlin, everywhere I go. You instead of going on Yelp or something like that, you figure out like what restaurants or grocers have leftover food, basically, or you tell the places you like to sign. I guess you could do this too. Like I'm sure it exists, right? In New York, it should. But you could like sign up your local businesses or tell like the taqueria or the pizza place by your house. And at the end of the day, if they're or at the end of like a shift, maybe like breakfast, they have leftover pizza or something like that, then you can buy the food for like basically I spend like $4 on like $20 meals and things like that. And they just give you whatever they have. They don't tell you what you're gonna get because it's whatever's left over, but it's always like a huge amount of food, more than you could buy for €4, right?
That would
Yeah.
be fucking amazing, but I think there's laws against it in the states.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
How
I,
not
so?
allowed to give away food.
Well,
I've
you're
worked
not
at
giving it away.
but even selling it, I've worked at a bunch of restaurants and like they always said like, oh, we can't directly give out this food that is going to end up in the dumpster, but like if you just want to take it home and hand it out on your own, there's we can't do anything to stop you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
even selling discounted stuff at the end of the day would be a great idea, but there's such a profit incentive that for some reason businesses would rather throw it in the dumpster than the alternative.
True.
Yeah, this is why we get two of the most fascinating subreddits, which is r dumpster diving and r shoplifting. I love those subreddits. They're so fascinating because you find
Our
good shit, and then people end up like either really addicted to shoplifting, or they're like on a mission, or they just like do it for fun. But some people really do have a problem.
Oh, I'm gonna be addicted to this instantly.
Yeah, it's really good.
My I love dumpster diving. I remember when I was young, my parents, my father's grandparents, my father's father, my grandparents, they grew up in the Depression in the 20s, like
Yeah,
old. So they're all about dumpster diving. Whoa, curbside another PC on my way to work. That's not bad,
it's a
bro. That's fun.
motherboard. You got your fans. You got your yeah. I think
I
it's just
just gave
missing
up
the
on this. You
yeah.
did not find a PS5 in a dumpster. Shut up. Really?
The next
I
post is like,
believe
I
it.
I found a whole ass baby. I'm keeping it.
Yeah, for real, right? Yeah, this is instantly fascinating what you can find in a dumpster. I remember like getting my school books and like kids would go to buy, their trapper keepers and their bags of stuff. And like it was already becoming, it was colorful, but I could already tell it was less quality than stuff made in the 70s or 80s or something like that. So we would go to the high school by my house and then literally jump into the dumpster after like during summer break, like right as summer break was beginning. And there'd just be like backpacks and all of these like notebooks and all this paper and like pencils and pens and all this like art supplies. But I remember one year, I think this was like when I was like 7 or 8, we found 30 bean bags, giant bean bags that were just filling up one of the dumpster. I think it was because they used them for like their therapy room or like some experimental late 80s, early 90s technique of removing all the desks from one classroom. Because they used to just do this and spend a bunch of money. And people talk about how like schools are underfinanced, but also they're just really inefficiently managed. So they'll spend a bunch of money and then they have to spend a certain amount of money, or they'll like say you don't need that money next year. So they'll just keep changing. We'll get rid of all the desks, throw them out. So we'd find like desks one year, and then the next year you find all bean bags. I still have all of these bean bags that we got at one point from the late 90s, mid 90s, or something like that. Dumpster diving's good.
Yeah, and it's
That
all part of the ecosystem of retail, which is dying.
Dude, this is sad. Someone just gave up on their basketball like career. He's like, I do meth now. I don't need this. Yeah, I can see that being a
Oh,
problem.
05 was a
Whoa.
long time ago.
I do love it, like when people like leave out stuff, instead of putting in the dumpster in Dresden, and they'll just put like a box of stuff out on the street filled with household supplies, refrigerator or whatever. And then by the end of the day, most of the stuff is gone. Like people pick through it and they found what they wanted of it. seems like there's a lot less waste in Europe.
I mean,
I've
but
noticed.
let's be honest about like excess. It's the real. I mean, it's natural. I think, like for example, if you have kids, like when your nesting instincts take over, and it becomes like hoarding kind of. I mean, I think
A
all parents.
Wii?
What?
Someone threw away a Wii? That's just terrifying. Who would throw away a beautiful Wii? Sorry.
Well, you got to think a lot. If it's a curb score, like these could be the results of like breakups. You know, they just like.
Dude, that happened all the time. Yeah. I remember one time I was in San Diego and I found it was like a book of who's the painter who did like Polynesian chicks? French guy painted Polynesian girls. What was his name again?
I don't even know what they look like. I forgot. Polynesian.
Paul Gauguin. Paul Gauguin, right? Well, you will. So I found this guy's book, Paul Gauguin, and he, Tahiti girls. He like he's like a French dude who moved to Polynesia and then just painted women for the rest of his life, thick Polynesian women. And his paintings got colorful and fun, and they're nice paintings. So I found his book, and then I found next to it all of the love letters and breakup letter, like this entire relationship between this guy and this girl. It was like a book, because it was just there's like chapter by chapter, like, oh, it was so amazing to meet you at that event, and then like, wow, like it's cool that we're still talking, and you know what, we should really get together, and like it's so cool that we got together, but I'm on vacation, I'm still gonna keep writing you letters, and then oh man, we live together now, so here's like the pictures of us. It was just great. And then like, I can't believe that I have to go across the country, but I'm going to keep writing you. And then like, we got back together and we're going to make it work. And then I can't believe that I thought you were the one.
Sounds
and
like a yearbook.
I just need to focus on myself. It was just, but it wasn't. It was like each one was a different letter. And it was just, they were all stacked up, all of the letters. And at some point they broke up and someone just took all of it out and put it on the street. Instead of, I guess they didn't want to destroy their, like they didn't, like, I would have burned that probably, but if there was just that much love going on, maybe they're like, I don't know, maybe throw it away. But no, it's like, here you go. I just can't bear it. I can't bear the amount of energy and love and time I put into this relationship. I'm just going to put it somewhere on the street. It just seems like the craziest thing. Like all of their.
Do you still have?
Yeah, I think so, actually, because I'm kind of a hoarder. That's the other thing, is I don't get rid of a lot of stuff. I just like hide it in my parents' basement or something.
Wait. Let me ask you though. Like, you never. Wait, sorry. What are you saying, Andrew?
I was just saying he has to publish them.